Hey, what is up, spiritual hooligan? What happens when your mind goes completely quiet? Do you turn into a dumb person or something? Do you have to leave life and move into a cave? Or does life become profoundly more enriching? My name is Matthew Ferry, and I'm bringing you your daily enlightenment. It's your moment to pause, to slow down, to get connected to enlightened perspectives. I want to help you to quiet your mind and restore your peace. So a quiet mind is an expression of an enlightened state. Enlightenment is the recognition that the source of life within you is the source of life for everyone and everything else. We're all one thing expressing itself with infinite variety. So today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read from my book, Quiet Mind, Epic Life. This is the introduction, and it really begins to paint a picture of the promise of a quiet mind. When your mind is free from the distractions created by resistance, you are free to create your dream life. This is the opening quote. A quiet mind is a peaceful mind which is not burdened by negative chatter and unwanted interruptions. A quiet mind is the platform for creating an epic life. If I do my job right and you read every word of this book, then your mind will go quiet for long periods of time. Not forever. This isn't a quick fix cure to an overactive mind. Instead, I'm going to give you a series of perspectives and practices that will steadily reduce your mind chatter until you achieve quiet mind, epic life. When your mind is quiet, you see things clearly. You stop resisting other people and the circumstances of life. You stop believing and adhering to the illogical standards that make sure you feel less than others. With a quiet mind, you are finally free from the irrational fears that cause self-sabotage. So here's my promise. The more you implement what I am about to teach you, the more fearless you will become. And that's a good thing. Fearlessness creates a big boost in your confidence. It has the power to improve almost every area of your life. The deeper you get into this process, the faster you are going to get that pep in your step. And as a result, you'll find yourself smiling more and enjoying life. When you feel free and relaxed, your curiosity becomes insatiable. Suddenly, you feel compelled to go after the meaningful goals that create your version of an epic life. Throughout this book, we're going to focus on your perspective. The ability to control your perspective is the foundation to becoming an enlightened being. That's my ultimate goal for you. Practicing the perspectives in this book will help you to transcend the insanity of your mind. When that happens, you have achieved what is traditionally called enlightenment. Together, we're going to use a methodology that has taken me 20 plus years to develop called the rapid enlightenment process. Enlightenment is not a religion. It's not anything like that. In fact, enlightenment is just a mindset of sorts. It's a very practical way of looking at the world that makes fearlessness possible. Now, just a little side note. Most Buddhists would freak out if you said that enlightenment is a mindset. But in general, what we're talking about here is that it is a perspective. It's a set of filters, a way in which you're seeing the world. It makes many other things possible too. Let me give you my definition of enlightenment so you understand what our end game is. Enlightenment is the recognition that the source of life within you is the source of life in everyone and everything else. We are all one thing expressing itself with infinite variety. When you truly see that the source of life within you is also the source of life in everyone and everything else, when you see that, we are all one thing expressing itself with infinite variety. When you see that, and the only thing that makes us different is our perspective about things, then boom, in that moment, everything changes. Fear disappears. Suddenly you realize there is no reason to be afraid. You instantly recognize that if the source of you is the source of everything, then there's nothing to fear. There's nothing to resist or avoid or repel or change, or otherwise fight against. In this state, you suddenly forgive everyone for everything. You stop resisting and you start appreciating everything. You appreciate the good things, the bad things, the breakthroughs, the breakdowns. They all suddenly seem perfect. Recognizing the perfection of everything creates an immediate feeling of peace. You find yourself starting to smile all the time. In your enlightened state, worry, stress, and fear become irrelevant. They don't make sense to you anymore. Enlightenment is very practical. When worry and fear become irrelevant, you are free to move about the cabin, people. You are free to create the life that you want. You are unbound. You are free. From this perspective, that the source of life within you is the source of life in everyone and everything, you rise above the limitations of cultural conditioning. You don't have to follow the rules anymore. Everything is up for evaluation. You see the dogma for what it is. Stories made up by well-meaning people, but stories nonetheless, not valid, not true, not real. You feel free. The invisible barriers disappear. When your mind is quiet, your limiting beliefs feel like a bad joke that you were playing on yourself. You laugh at the beliefs you used to have, and naturally, effortlessly, they stop limiting you. A quiet mind state is an enlightened state. When you are enlightened, you recognize that you are infinite, and you understand it, you get it. With nothing distracting you in your mind, you feel your unlimited nature. You recognize that you are in a body and it has limitations, but your intuition tells you that you are not your body and you are unlimited. With a quiet mind, all that stuff that you used to resist about yourself, the stuff that you used to resist about other people in your life, about your job, about your family, poof, that resistance no longer makes sense. If you are them and they are you, if we're all one thing expressing itself with infinite variety, then resistance seems silly, doesn't it? As a result, it just melts away in your enlightened perspective. Now, don't get me wrong, the world is still the same world than it was before. There are still disasters, breakdowns, failures, misunderstandings. People still get upset with you and your projects still fail. There are still politics, crime, bad behavior, and natural disasters, but in an enlightened state, hardly anything bugs you or takes you off your game. When your mind is free from the clutter created by resistance, agitation, annoyances, doubts, fears, and uncertainty, you are free to focus on what matters. You aren't distracted by the mind's obsessions with looking good, being right, judging, avoiding negativity, being popular. All that suffering caused by your judgments subsides. You are no longer burdened by lamenting thoughts like, am I doing it right? Do they like me? Am I going to succeed? Am I good enough? In your enlightened state, all that mental chatter is transcended. And you are freakishly free, wildly free, more free than you have ever been in your life. Why? Think about it like this. When you are enlightened, you see things as they are. You see that we are all one thing expressing itself with infinite variety. You are no longer subject to the influence of your perceptual filters and stories in your mind and the stories that your mind tells you. This creates the ability to maintain a calm and peaceful state in a chaotic and uncertain world. Can you imagine a world where almost nothing takes you off your game? That, my friend, is unbelievably practical. Thank you for joining me on this journey of Quiet Mind Epic Life. So, my question to you is, what are you going to implement in your life starting today to keep you moving in the direction of your quiet mind? I want to know. Leave me a comment. I would love to hear from you. My name is Matthew Ferry, author of Quiet Mind Epic Life, and I would love it if you would like this daily enlightenment. You watched it, you listened to it all the way through. Like this thing, so that way it tells these big platforms, hey, this is something that other people should check out. Share it, comment. You could also subscribe. I put out a new daily enlightenment every single day, and you can check us out on Facebook. We have a pretty bolstering, I don't know if that's the right word, group over there. Boisterous, all together, lots of energy. I'll put the link down below. Thanks again for tuning into this daily enlightenment.